And so begins the final season of Backing the Boro. Hello and welcome to part 184 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we're going to have a look through our summer transfers. This might not have gone exactly as I planned, and also play our first game of the new season away against Blackburn. We've just lost the Community Shield as well, so it's all over. Remember, this is our all or nothing season. It is going to be the final season of Backing the Boro regardless of what happens. We started this save, 23, 24 seasons ago now, with a plan to take Nuneaton from the Conference North and win the Champions League. We've come close-ish. We've won the Premier League the last 2 years in a row. We got to the quarter-final of the Champions League last year. We've got to go like 3 better this time round. It's a big ask. And transfers haven't gone as... I mean, we have strengthened in areas we needed to strengthen. We haven't signed another Piazza, though, which, to me, that's a disappointment. But judge for yourself. We had over £100 million to spend. We've not spent anywhere near that. We've still got £40 million left for January if we need it. A couple of players have disappeared. Jose Antonio Fernandez has gone out on loan to Inter for the season, joining back up with Patrick Brodic at Inter. He's another one of the leg break brigade who's just never been the same player since his leg break. We did initially loan Simon Ganley, the young striker that we signed from... Who did we sign him from? Upest. And then loaned him out to Wolves. We originally loaned him to Chelsea for the season, who were going to play him. They wanted him in as a first-team player for the season. Then we got injuries to 3 of our strikers in pre-season. And then Ganley got top goal scorer and best player in the Euro Under-19 Championship. So we thought, you know what? We're recalling you. So Ganley is back at the club. He did play in the Community Shield. And these are the players that we've brought in. Junior is, I mean, he'd be one for 2 or 3 seasons down the line. He'll be a superstar. I don't think this is going to be Junior's year. 19-year-old Brazilian under-20 international centre-back, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential though, comes in for just over 10 million quid. Like I say, when we do the 10 years in the future video, he'll look like a superstar in it. I don't know if we're going to see anything of that from him this year, and that's kind of been a theme of the players that we brought in. It was difficult to... I wanted a Galactico and I couldn't find one that I could justify spending the money on. I almost spent £80 million on attacking midfielder, and then I thought, I'll still want to play Nuhu, so what's the point? Didn't want to buy a striker, and then I panic bought an expensive midfielder right as the window closed, but we'll get to him in a minute. Leonardo Grillo is a 21-year-old Italian under-21 international right back, can also play left back, 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. He's almost as good as Coupler. He's better than Mark Ricketts, and that's the important thing. We've got a little bit of depth at right back. Ricketts was our backup right back all last year. He never actually really had to play. Apart from he played in the Carabao Cup run, because Coupler was fit, but it's a big risk going into the season with just one right back. And it was also on the understanding that we might sell Wanda if we got an offer for him. In the end, we didn't get an offer for Wanda, but I wanted to have a proper backup right back just in case, because that was kind of what Wanda was in my head last season. And then we also got another left back. Marco Toniolo is another Italian under-21 international, 20 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. Apparently only the 5th best left back at the club, although there's only half a star rating between all of them. He's got the potential to end up better than Robertson Sretenovic. He won't be starting the season as our main left back. He might become that as the season goes on. Who knows? Well, with all 3 of these, they've signed with a view to the next 2 or 3 years because they've got potential. We've not got another 2 or 3 years. We needed someone for this season, and the only one really who is a signing for this season is Peter Tate, who's a 25-year-old English midfielder who we've signed from Stoke for far too much money, £37.5 million. Like I said, this was a deadline day panic purchase, and it was a panic purchase because we have a new entry into the broken leg brigade. And it's Benjamin Caminero, who's broken his ankle, and I'm devastated because I loved this man. But if he follows the same pattern that all the other leg breaks have followed, after 3 awesome years as an integral part of our midfield, Caminero might be done. He's not in our Premier League squad for this season. We can always add him in January, but knowing how things have been previously, we'll probably sell him in January because he will come back as a 2-star player. Tate comes in as another option in midfield. I don't know if he's going to start, but there was so little out there that I thought would actually improve the squad. He hasn't really improved the squad. He's another Wanda, another Ruzic. Although, to be fair, Ruzic was in the team of the season last year, and Piazza obviously is a striker, so he doesn't count towards our midfield numbers. So he's not the worst midfielder in the world. But I think we have massively overpaid for him. He's our most expensive player ever, but we needed a player and he was available, so we signed him. In Piazza news, he's had a very busy summer. If you remember on the last episode, he did end the season injured, but then still went off and played lots of football over the summer. So if we just, so he's been away with Brazil. Is it the under-23s? Yeah, so he's been away with the Brazil under-23s, but he's also been away with Brazil. So what's he been playing? I don't actually know what he's been playing with. I just know he's played football all summer. So if we have a look at the schedule for the Brazil national team, so he's been playing World Cup qualifiers for Brazil and friendlies for Brazil. Inexplicably. Why are you playing him in friendlies when he's also been away at the Olympics playing with Brazil and, scoring goals in the Olympics as well? They did get knocked out. And he's just come back absolutely shattered. He's not had a break since signing for us, really. So he's been sent on a 3-week holiday. He's not going to be available until the end of August. So Piazza's not here. But we've also got injuries to Charlie Jones and Iker Alonso, who I think it's Jones who's fit again for today. Alonso's still going to be out for another month or so. But Jones isn't fully fit. And we are struggling a little bit for strikers. So Ganley is there as first substitute on the bench rather than starting for Chelsea, which has got to be an improvement. So this is the team we're putting out there for the first day of the season away against Blackburn. We've got Harry's in goal, a back four of Roberts, Ripert, Taraka and Coupler, Centurion, Ruzic and Barbas in midfield with Nuhu in behind, Mustafa and Jones. It's a very strong looking bench. We've got New Boys, Junior and Tate are down on the bench. Ganley's down on the bench as well, who did play in the Community Shield but hasn't made his league debut for us yet. We've got a deep squad, a lot of very good players. I don't know if Peter Tate, as our only real first team signing, I don't know if he's the man who turned us from being Champions League quarter-finalists to Champions League winners. I would like to think we know how to win the Premier League now, and it would be nice to end it. At least, if nothing else, we can end the series with 3 Premier League wins in a row. That would be nice. I think we should be capable of that if we can keep at least 3 of our strikers fit, which we haven't really got for today. It's really just about the Champions League. We know we can get through a Champions League group, so we're not that bothered about what the draw is when that happens before the next episode. We're not that worried because we've finished top of our group the last 2 seasons against some very, very difficult groups. What we have learned in our European adventures over the last several seasons is we lose against the English teams in Europe. And we've got to stop doing that. We did it against Tottenham like 4 years ago. We did it against Man City last year. Those away legs against Premier League teams, considering we're the best team in the Premier League, theoretically, I don't know why we keep losing them, but we've got to find a way through and find a way to get the job done this season. Let me know down in the comments if you think, based on those summer transfers, you think we're going to be able to win the Champions League this year and end the series with a smile on our faces. Or if that's it. I'm done. No, not a chance. What a waste. 0-0 at half-time. We are struggling a little bit with our attackers because we've got an injured Jones, Mustafa, who was never really a first teamer for us. He was just decent squad player. He's still a decent squad player to have around. I wouldn't ever start him by choice if everybody was fit. We might be introducing Ganley fairly early on in this game, although Jones has scored an absolute fluke there. In fact, it's gone down as an own goal. It was very fluky what was going on. Jones did very well to keep closing down, considering he is playing with an injury. Mustafa, though, played the ball forward for Jones to chase. Jones does really well here, beats his man for pace, and then just does not give up when the keeper gets there first, and it actually rebounds back off the keeper, I think, or it's gone down as an own goal to their centre-back, who was the least likely for me to credit that goal to out of everyone involved. It doesn't matter, we're 1-0 up, and points on the board is all that matters. Nuhu, back to Barbas, to Nuhu again, forward to Jones, who's, again, just struggling to get the ball under control. He's playing like a man who's had no pre-season, which is exactly what he is. Barbas, forward to Jones. Jones crosses, doesn't get anywhere, but Barbas plays it back to Mustafa. Centurion's got space to shoot, and it goes just wide. Centurion needs a big game today because we've got Tate as our new signing, we've still got Wanda knocking around, and there is a gap in our regular midfield without Caminero there. Caminero's been ever present for 3 years, pretty much. So Centurion's got an opportunity to force his way back into this team after Barbas and Ruzic coming into the club kind of pushed him down the pecking order a little bit. So he's got his opportunity today. Got to say, he hasn't really impressed me that much. So we've got Wander. Tate, we're probably going to give an opportunity to now. But most excitingly, we're bringing on Simon Ganley, 19 years old, to make his debut. Is it his first game in English football? Did he ever play for Charlton? Oh, of course he was on loan at Wolves last year. It's not his first game in the Premier League even. Goodness me, Kev. But he's going to make his debut. Nuhu's not playing particularly well, but we don't really have a backup to Nuhu, which, I mean, perhaps I should have signed another attacking midfielder in the summer. Esteban is getting on a bit, and I'm kind of done with Esteban. Fernandez we've sent out on loan. We have got the youngster Pep we signed last summer, but if we get an injury to Nuhu, we potentially have a problem. Although we could, I guess, go to 4-3-3 if that happened. But looking at it now, I guess, do we push Ruzic or Centurion further forward? I want to get Tate onto the pitch. So let's bring Tate on for Nuhu. Push Centurion forward. Because I want... Tate is in as a carrot arrow. That's what we want from him. We'll just play Centurion there. Give him an opportunity to... You know, we gave him the opportunity today to secure a spot in the midfield three. He hasn't done that. So perhaps he can secure his spot as our backup attacking midfielder by having a cracking performance in that position today. He's not playing very well, is he? Roberts isn't playing well either and is on a yellow card, but we don't have a left back on the bench, which is just silly. Come on now, Kev. I want to get Junior on to have a look at him as well, but I think if I was Thomas Day, I would get a proper grump on if Junior came on ahead of me. So we're actually going to bring Wander on for Ruzic and just stick Wander in there as our deep line playmaker, who we said goodbye to Wander at the end of last season and then nobody wanted him. We didn't get a single offer for him in the summer, and he has been too good for too long for me to offer him out. So I wasn't, and there was never a plan to offer him out. I was just, in my head, had decided to let him go if the offers came in, like they have for the last several summers. But I guess after a season of not really playing regularly for us, the rest of the world's decided he's probably done as well. Ganley, in behind, crosses towards Tate, who nods it down to Roberts. Roberts to Barbas. I think I was quite generous to Tate there because he's the new boy. It kind of deflected back to Roberts. But who cares? The attack continued, although Blackburn are on the counter-attack here, and we are a little bit fortunate because that was probably the best chance of the entire game. And they've absolutely bottled it. And it's gone flying wide, and that should be the full-time whistle. We've had 2 extra minutes on top of the 4 minutes that was already added on. I am whistling my face off down on the dugout. On the dugout? In the dugout. Perhaps I am on the dugout because I'm whistling so hard I've stood on the roof. There we go. We finally get the full-time whistle. Goodness me, did we make hard work of that. But for context, remember, Blackburn have been in and around the Champions League spots for like the last 5 years now. They are one of the better teams in the Premier League. We've just gone there away from home without our best player. And, oh yeah, it was quite hard work. But we beat them, and that's important. So, don't forget to comment down in the comments whether you think we're going to win the Champions League this year or not. Like I say, regardless of whether we do or not, this is our final season as we start to get excited and ready for the FM19 beta, which by my calculations is now less than 3 weeks away. I'm excited. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.